Oh, it's working. Okay. Hi. Slight technical difficulties. Also, might look a little weird, but I think I'm gonna be doing this with the headphones from now on, if only because, long story short, for some reason my internal mic is toast. Not sure why, but it may have something to do with involving a 5-year-old nephew and a bottle of Windex, but that's neither here nor there right now. Uh, but yeah, I noticed that this does record a lot better, but when I have the headphones on, I talk a bit louder to hear myself, and I've noticed that I wind up kind of half yelling into the mic, and I want to avoid that. But just for the sake of it, I kind of want to go over some stuff that I've been hearing about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and why things supposedly don't work, and how someone somehow supposedly missed the point of certain things, and why the ending doesn't work. And I've seen people criticize the ending for a variety of reasons. One being that somehow, because he's telling jokes again and back right out there fighting crime, he somehow forgot about Gwen and what she means to him because he's not taking this seriously. There's a problem with that. First and foremost, that is a core piece of who he is. And what you're essentially asking is for him to become Batman because somebody close to him died. Look, Uncle Ben was close to him, and he died, and Peter still didn't lose his humorous personality. George Stacy died right in his arms, and again, he did not lose his humorous personality. It's part of who he is. And on top of that, the guy was mourning for 5 months. 5 months. 5 months he couldn't crack a smile. 5 months he couldn't tell a joke. 5 miles he couldn't even muster up the will to put that suit back on and get out there because he had failed to save her. Not even just her. He'd failed to save someone again, but again, someone very important to him. And it's a theme that's been expressed in Spider-Man comics in the past. This idea that somehow, you know, what's the good of being a hero if I can't even save the people I love, if I can't even help the people closest to me? And he's had that dilemma when Aunt May appeared to have died before. He had that dilemma in the comics after Gwen died, and it took May reminding him that it's okay to miss that person and to keep a piece of them with you, you know, but you can't wear it on your sleeve. You can't obsess over it. You have to do what is necessary to move on with life. You can't sit around completely stuck in the past forever. That's not to say that you don't love them or care about them anymore. It simply means that you can't stop existing just because they're gone. And more likely than not, they wouldn't want you to. And that was also illustrated by Gwen's speech, the part of it that we hadn't heard yet. And that is what inspired him to finally, you know, this is what Gwen would have wanted, for me to, you know, get on with my life and do what I have to do. And so he did. So, in fact, the reason that he actually found the strength to put that suit back on is because of her. He's doing it in her memory, and in Uncle Ben's memory, and in George Stacy's memory. He's doing it in, you know, because these people would not want him to just give up and quit. You know, his uncle told him about the responsibility he has to help people because he has the ability to do so. George Stacy imparted on him before he died the fact that city does need him. And Gwen, again, you know, pointed out that you can't just, you know, life's precious and you can't waste it. You can't just, you know, stop it because things get bad. And you need to have the hope to carry on. And these are things that he's going to take with him, and they are going to seriously shape him as a character, as they did, again, in the comics. Now, this concept, I see a lot of people also say the Rhino somehow doesn't work. I'm not sure how. He's big. He's Alexei Sitsevich. He smashes things. What's not working there? The fact that it was too short. It's kind of a tease. And they kind of already told you that he wasn't going to have a very big part in this movie. If you went in there somehow expecting, even after the producer and the director and the actor himself, everybody specifically told you months ago that this is not a huge part. He's going to have a bigger part in Spider-Man, in future Spider-Man films. And you went in there still expecting a big old brawl with a complete conclusion when you saw that coming. Y'all know that that ain't gonna happen. And for people to sit there with this incredibly stupid postulations like, you know, what if he died? We don't know. What if he got impaled in that horn? You know, you can't end like that. Yet it's like, pretty sure with the big triumphant music and everything right there, he did not die by impaling himself on Rhino's horn. Okay, that does not seem like a likely course of events. But again, I digress. I'm a little confused about what doesn't make the ending work. Gwen taught Peter. You know, Gwen was a hero in her own right too. I mean, they did more than the comic version ever was. But I also see people say that somehow Peter, you know, not wanting her around somehow negates the fact that, you know, he's the one who got her into trouble in the first place. That's actually not the case. Peter kept Gwen out of things in comic completely, to the point where she did not know his identity. That is a film exclusive thing. And Gwen, when she was taken, was actually taken from a place of safety. I believe, in fact, it was her own apartment. And taken to that bridge. Now, in this case, Gwen was taken, yes, but it was after they thought the threat was over, and nobody could have seen that coming. But either way, the Green Goblin showed up out of nowhere. No one could have seen it coming, because in the comics, he only showed up because Norman somehow got his memory back again. And carried her off, and dropped her, and then death. I'm not understanding what people are saying when they imply that somehow they didn't understand what they were doing, or that they got it wrong, especially since the man who wrote that story and wrote the context, wrote the everything leading up to that, wrote the aftermath of that, Jerry Conway himself was in that theater, and he was so moved by how well they handled it that he was in tears. Okay? He actually teared up at how someone adapted his own work. He genuinely believes they adapted it that well. They understood it that well. He was right there. He loved it. He said he loved it. And I show that to people, these so-called hardcore fans, and it amuses me because they're all like, that's one guy's opinion. What do I care about this one random guy's opinion? He's the one who wrote it. He knows exactly what he was thinking when he wrote it. He knows exactly the lesson he was trying to impart when he wrote it. And he says they did it beautifully. That's valid. I'm sorry. The man would know, okay? He's the guy who wrote it. I don't know how else I can make that more clear. So you have all these people trying to play, you know, armchair philosopher, and why they clearly didn't understand this. It's like you got a guy who's been reading the comics since his childhood, who dug into back issues even. And he won the approval of the man who wrote the thing. And he got approval from the man who created the character On top of it, who even at one point said that he has never seen anyone who quite grasps the characters like he does. But it's not enough. I don't get it. I mean, I've seen a lot of people flippantly dismiss Stan Lee because, you know, he'll say whatever he has to about whatever's out there so it'll do well. He's a team player, etc. Okay, fine. Jerry Conway's not. Jerry Conway, in fact, is freelance. He's done work for both Marvel and DC, and he's not afraid to state preferences and state his opinion. Beware if you choose to follow him. That includes political, so... but... I mean, the man is nothing if not unashamed of his opinion. He's not going to BS you. And if he says that he thinks they got it right, they got it right. I'm sorry. But even I've read that arc like several times. I've read that comic for years. I can tell you personally, they definitely got it right. I even reread it and reread the events leading up to it and reread what came after it just a few months before the movie came out, and it's still pretty fresh in my mind. And yeah, they got it about as well as you can honestly get that. So I don't understand this concept of how they just didn't understand how things worked. How? I'm sorry, Jerry Conway. Apparently you don't understand your own work. Or at least that's what a lot of folks on YouTube would like you to believe. But at any rate, that's that for now. And, you guys let me know if there's anything that I said I was going to talk about that I'm forgetting. But for tonight, I think that'll do it. So, I will catch you guys next time. See ya.